All right, let's be very real. History has a habit of flexing on us. Just when we think we're at the peak of civilization with our AI, self-driving cars, and phones that somehow still crack despite military-grade glass, the past reminds us, yeah, we did some crazy stuff too. From swords that defied physics to fire that burned on water to ancient computers that should not have existed, civilizations thousands of years ago pulled off feats that still baffle modern scientists. Some of these secrets were lost to time, others were deliberately destroyed, and a few, well, let's just say somebody didn't want us to know about them. So buckle up, because these 15 lost ancient technologies might just make you question everything you thought you knew about our history. Number 15. Stradivarius violins. Even if you don't play an instrument, you've probably heard of Stradivarius violins, famous for their unmatched sound quality. Crafted by the Stradivari family between 1650 and 1750, these violins outperform even the best modern instruments. So what makes them so special? No one knows in the world. Some theories say it's the density of the wood, others claim it's the specific varnish formula, or even that climate conditions in the 17th century made the wood unique. Scientists have tried to recreate Stradivarius violins for centuries, but no one has succeeded. Surviving Stradivarius violins now sell for millions, but the family's secrets died with them. Until we crack the mystery, modern violin makers can only dream of matching that legendary sound. Number 14. Warden Cliff Tower. Nikola Tesla wasn't just ahead of his time. He was so far ahead, the world shut him down before he could change everything. The Warden Cliff Tower, built in 1901, was Tesla's wireless energy transmission project designed to beam free electricity across the planet. Well, that's right. No power lines, no gas bills, just pure, unlimited energy for everyone. Sounds too good to be true? That's what J.P. Morgan, his investor, thought too, except he wasn't thrilled. Once Morgan realized Tesla's invention couldn't be monetized, he cut funding, pulled support, and ensured it never saw the light of day. In 1917, the tower was demolished, and Tesla's research mysteriously vanished. Today, we're still struggling to make wireless power a reality, while Tesla had the blueprint over a century ago. Was this the greatest suppressed invention in history? Maybe. All we know is, if Tesla had succeeded, the entire world would look very different today. Number 13. Ancient Chinese wells. Think natural gas pipelines were a modern invention? Nope. The ancient Chinese were way ahead of us. Over 2,000 years ago, they had already figured out how to extract methane from deep underground and pipe it into homes using bamboo tubes. Originally, they were digging wells for salt production, but they stumbled upon something even better: methane gas pockets. Instead of letting it go to waste, they collected and redirected the gas to power lamps and stoves, making them some of the earliest users of fossil fuel energy. What's wild is that they even built gas distribution networks, entire bamboo pipelines that carried the fuel to homes and workshops. Meanwhile, it took Europe until the 19th century to start figuring out natural gas infrastructure. So, did ancient China have the first gas-powered cities? Pretty much. If we could bring back their sustainable and efficient system, we might just cut our energy problems in half. Number 12. Telharmonium. Before synthesizers and electronic music, there was the Telharmonium, a giant machine built in 1897 that could generate and transmit music wirelessly over telephone lines. Designed by Thaddeus Cahill, this electromechanical monster was basically the grandfather of the modern synthesizer. It created synthetic sounds using a system of rotating electromagnetic generators, producing music that people could listen to remotely, a concept way ahead of its time. So why don't we have one today? Well, first off, it was enormous. We're talking 200 tons of machinery. Second, it drained so much electricity that it messed with phone signals across New York City. By the time radio and phonographs took over, The Telharmonium was scrapped and forgotten. No recordings, no working models, just a lost piece of musical history. All right, now, let's move to Number 11. Tesla oscillator. Nikola Tesla was on a roll with mind-blowing inventions, but this one might have been too dangerous for its own good. In 1898, Tesla created a mechanical oscillator that, in theory, could generate vibrations at frequencies matching natural objects, meaning, if tuned correctly, it could shake anything apart. According to Tesla himself, while testing it in his New York lab, he accidentally created vibrations so intense that they shook surrounding buildings and almost collapsed the entire block. Realizing the potential disaster, Tesla smashed the machine with a sledgehammer before it could do any real damage. He later claimed that with the right frequency, he could split the Earth in two. Scientists today still debate whether such a device could work, but we do know resonance-based destruction is very real. So, was this just an exaggerated Tesla story, or did he really invent an earthquake machine that was too dangerous to exist? Number 10. Greek fire. Imagine being a medieval sailor thinking you're untouchable, and then suddenly, boom, a fire that won't go out, even on water. That's Greek fire, one of the most terrifying lost weapons in history. Used by the Byzantine Empire, this mystery liquid was launched at enemy ships and ignited instantly, sticking to anything it touched, including water. The worst part? It couldn't be put out. Water just made it worse. The formula was a state secret, locked down tighter than Area 51. Even today, no one knows how it was made. Scientists suspect it involved naphtha, quicklime, and sulfur, but every attempt to recreate it has failed. Some even believe it required a pressurized delivery system, which would mean the Byzantines had something resembling a flamethrower over 1,000 years ago. So, what happened to it? When the empire fell, the secret was lost forever, leaving historians and military engineers desperate to crack the code. Number 9. Nepenthe. The ancient Greeks might have had something Big Pharma would kill for today, a natural antidepressant called Nepenthe. Mentioned in Homer's Odyssey, this mysterious potion was said to chase away sorrow and make people forget their grief. It was reportedly given to Helen of Troy to ease her sadness and was considered one of the most powerful mood enhancers of its time. But here's the catch. We have no idea what it actually was. Historians think it could have been a psychoactive plant extract, maybe opium, cannabis, or even blue lotus. But there's no solid proof. It might have even been something completely unknown to us today. Imagine if this was an ancient, all-natural cure for depression and anxiety. With modern research, we might be able to rediscover and replicate it. But until then, Nepenthe remains just another lost medical marvel. Number 8. Cloudbuster. In the 1950s, Wilhelm Reich claimed he invented a machine that could manipulate the weather, summoning rain on command. Called the Cloudbuster, this contraption supposedly worked by harnessing orgone energy, a mysterious force Reich believed influenced both life and the atmosphere. He even demonstrated it by making clouds disappear and rainfall in desert areas. Sounds like pure pseudoscience, right? Well, not entirely. In 1953, a farmer hired Reich to end a drought in Maine. After setting up his Cloudbuster, rain came within hours, saving the crops. Coincidence? Maybe. But the government wasn't having it. Soon after Reich was arrested, his research was seized, and his devices were destroyed. To this day, no one knows whether he had actually tapped into a hidden force of nature or if it was all just a misunderstood experiment. Either way, if we had working weather control today, we'd probably have a lot fewer droughts and wildfires. Number 7. The Library of Alexandria. Okay, technically this isn't a technology, but losing the Library of Alexandria was like accidentally deleting the entire internet in ancient times. Founded in 300 BC, this legendary library housed over 1 million scrolls, filled with knowledge from across the ancient world. Everything from medicine and astronomy to engineering and philosophy. Scholars would copy every book that came into the city, creating the largest knowledge base of its time. And then, poof, gone. The library was destroyed in a series of fires and invasions, wiping out centuries of scientific progress. Some say Julius Caesar accidentally burned part of it, while others believe later rulers finished the job. To this day, no one knows exactly what was lost, but many believe it included breakthroughs in medicine, engineering, and astronomy that could have advanced humanity centuries ahead. What if the cure for diseases, the key to free energy, or even an ancient blueprint for modern science was in those lost scrolls? We'll never know. Number 6. Zhang Heng's seismoscope. You'd think accurate earthquake detection is something only modern science figured out, right? Wrong. The Chinese beat us to it over 2,000 years ago with Zhang Heng's seismoscope, a device so precise it could detect quakes hundreds of miles away. Built in 132 AD, this bronze urn-like instrument had 8 dragon heads with small metal balls inside. If an earthquake occurred, a ball would drop into the mouth of a corresponding bronze toad, pointing exactly where the tremor came from. Incredibly, when tested, the device successfully detected an earthquake over 300 miles away, even before it was felt by people in the affected city. Today, no complete model of Zhang Heng's device exists, and while modern seismographs work differently, his invention was shockingly advanced for its time. How did he do it? That's still a mystery. Number 5. Silphium. There was once a plant so valuable that the Romans literally put it on their coins. It was called Silphium, and it was used for everything, from medicine to perfume to birth control. But there was a big problem. Silphium only grew in one place, along the coast of modern-day Libya. The demand was so high that overharvesting drove it to extinction. Despite efforts to cultivate it elsewhere, Silphium refused to grow outside its natural habitat, a mystery that still baffles botanists today. Some ancient texts claim that the last known stalk was gifted to Emperor Nero, who promptly ate it. And just like that, one of the world's most mysterious plants was lost forever. If we could somehow bring it back, it could change medicine and agriculture forever. But until that happens, Silphium remains one of history's greatest botanical mysteries. Let's move to Number 4. Ancient boomerangs. You probably think of boomerangs as fun toys or something out of an Australian stereotype. But ancient civilizations? They treated them as serious hunting tools, and some boomerangs were so well designed, they outperformed modern versions. The oldest known boomerang was found in Poland, made from mammoth tusk over 23,000 years ago. Indigenous Australians perfected the craft, using them for hunting, warfare, and even musical instruments. What's crazy? Some of these booms could return to their thrower, while others were designed for precise, straight-line accuracy, better aerodynamics than many modern models. Scientists have analyzed ancient boomerangs and found sophisticated shaping techniques that allowed them to fly longer, hit harder, and travel farther than expected. Did ancient people understand aerodynamics better than we thought? It sure seems like it. And honestly, if someone 20,000 years ago could make a boomerang that hits its target and comes back, that's a flex modern engineers should probably respect. Number 3. Ulfberht swords. If Game of Thrones had a real-life equivalent of Valyrian steel, it'd be this sword. Mysterious Viking-era weapons that seem too advanced for their time. Discovered in Scandinavia, these swords date from 800 to 1000 AD and were so pure in metal composition that similar steelwork wasn't seen again until the Industrial Revolution, 800 years later. The iron in these swords had almost no impurities, meaning Vikings somehow mastered advanced metalworking techniques centuries before anyone else. Blacksmiths today struggle to forge replicas using only Viking-era technology. Did they accidentally discover advanced metallurgy? Or was there a lost method we've yet to uncover? Either way, these swords shouldn't exist in that time period, yet here they are. Number 2. Damascus steel. Legend has it that Damascus steel swords were so strong they could cut through rocks or even slice another blade in half. Modern metallurgy has tried to recreate them, but so far, no luck. The process for making true Damascus steel was lost sometime in the 18th century, and while today's Damascus steel knives look similar, they don't hold the same legendary properties. Ancient records suggest they were made with Wootz steel from Sri Lanka, but the secret forging method remains a mystery. Some believe nanostructures and carbon nanotubes played a role in their extreme strength, something that wouldn't be officially discovered by scientists until the 20th century. So how did blacksmiths 1,000 years ago figure it out? Either they were centuries ahead of their time, or they had some lost knowledge we'll never get back despite quantum PC. Number 1. The construction of the pyramids. We all know about the Egyptian pyramids, but how they were built is still one of the greatest mysteries of all time. Some of these massive limestone blocks came from 500 miles away, and each one weighs several tons. Yet somehow, without modern machinery, cranes, or even iron tools, the ancient Egyptians stacked over 2 million of these blocks with perfect precision. Some theories suggest they used ramps, pulleys, or water to move the stones, but none have been definitively proven. Even today, engineers struggle to explain how these structures have stood for over 4,500 years, while modern buildings fall apart in decades. Were the ancient Egyptians just next-level architects? Or did they possess lost engineering knowledge we simply don't understand anymore? Either way, if you ever see someone try to say they could build a pyramid today, ask them to do it without modern cranes, because good luck with that. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.